Hi, I'm Katie. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 20 reads in 2018. So these are just the 20 books that I like the most that I read this year in 2018. They did not necessarily come out this year. In fact, most of them did not. For a long time I didn't read a lot for pleasure because I had eye strain, and then I found out I needed reading glasses, and I also found out I had sleep apnea, and that's why I was falling asleep all the time. So with getting those two things fixed, now I can read. So I read like over 40 books this year. So these are just the top 20. Most of them I rated 5 stars. So the first one, number 20, coming in strong, Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is a YA fantasy. I love this book. The premise of this book and the idea of dreams and communicating in dreams, and I just love all things to do with dreams I love. So I really love this book. I like the sequel, Muse of Nightmares, but I didn't like it quite as much. This book follows a character named Laszlo Strange, and Strange, and he's a librarian, and he's really obsessed with this lost city called Weep, and he wants to find out more about Weep, and one day he gets the chance to do that. And then I don't really want to say more because it's spoilery. The second book takes like a way different turn, and not necessarily a bad turn, but it left me it left me wanting more. I hope she writes more. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Though, as of right now, I don't think she is, but I don't know. But I hope she does, because I do love this series. Okay, next, number 19. I don't have the physical copy with me because it's in my class library at school for my students, is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. City of Heavenly Fire is the 6th book, the last book in the Mortal Instruments series. Warning, these Shadowhunter novels are not like great, amazing literature. However, they're fun, and if you like the characters, they're really fun. So Mortal Instruments, though, of her three main series that have come out so far, is my least favorite of the 3. This 6th book was really strong. It was really well written. I really feel like her writing it just improves the more she writes, to bring in lots of things, to have lots of fun twists, and it was fun to see the characters get the fulfilling ending that I wanted. Alright, and by the way, that's YA fantasy. If you're not into YA fantasy, don't go towards Shadowhunters, because sometimes they do have like cringy moments, but overall, I really enjoy them. Number 18, The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. So good. Also in my class library, I can even think of the student who has it checked out right now. So good. So The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas, it is a YA contemporary. It follows a young girl named Star. Oh my god. You know, both have to do with the universe. Star Carter, and it basically follows her life, living in a low socioeconomic area with lots of gang activity, and she kind of lives like a dual life because she has that aspect going on, but then she goes to a private school in like a more affluent area, so it's like she really has to like balance, like she doesn't really have like a full sense of identity, what high schooler does, but like for her specifically. And one day she sees a cop. She witnesses her friend get shot by a cop, her friend who is unarmed, and basically it's the aftermath of that, of both like finding her true identity and dealing with the aftermath of her friend being killed by a cop. Alright, 17, Gathering of Shadows. I have this book. Yay! I love the cover of this book. This is one of my favorite covers. Lila Bard. So A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. The Shades of Magic series is my all-time favorite series. Fantasy. It's adult fantasy. This is the middle book, so it's a trilogy. This is my least favorite of the books because, honestly, I feel like because I watched Thoughts on Tomes opinion on this book, I was like, oh yeah. It's a little bit too predictable, but I still love it. I love the world. I love the parallel Londons. I love everything. It just, like, the first half of this book dragged. but then the second half was, like, awesome. But, you know, I wanted it to be, like, where I felt the first book and the third book were, like, amazing throughout. So, yeah. If you don't know what this is about, I'll explain it more when we get to number 1, which is higher on the list. Okay. Number 16, Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. Ruin and Rising is the third book in the Grishaverse trilogy. The first one, Shadow and Bone. The second one is Siege and Storm. And the last one is Ruin and Rising, which was my favorite, which I gave 5 stars. I thought the ending was phenomenal. I actually ship the canon couple, which most people do not. Like, I feel like everyone hates the canon couple, but I love them. So I was like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm sick, if you couldn't tell. So that book is also in my class library right now. So the Grishaverse is really cool. It has a really cool magic system where only certain people in the world are able to do magic, and then they have tiers of who can do what. So, like, certain magicians can only work with metals. Certain magicians can only work with elements, like the sea. And other ones, they can actually affect human organs, so whether they're healing or hurting. And that shows up also in her other series, Six of Crows, because it takes place in the same universe. Not like a continuation, but it does have some characters from the Grishaverse in Six of Crows duology. And I read it backwards, so Six of Crows duology came out after the Grisha series, and I was a little confused at some parts, but I caught on pretty fast. And then I went back and read the Grisha trilogy. Alright, number 15, Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery. I don't know why it took me so long to read Anne of Green Gables. I just love it. I don't have a hard copy of it. I read it on my Kindle because it's really cheap on an ebook. I don't know why it took me 29 years of my life to read this book. My middle name is Anne with an E, after Anne of Green Gables. Thank you, Mother. The show Anne with an E is amazing, by the way. I just love this story. I love Anne. I love the city they live in, Avonlea. I wish I lived in Avonlea, which is in, like, Prince Edward Island in Canada. Well, it's like a made-up town, but, like, that's where it takes place. And it takes place in, like, the yeah, late 1800s, early 1900s? Yeah, because there's no cars. Yeah. And it's just so, like, Anne is just, like, an amazing role model and an amazing character, and you just see her go through all the, she's an orphan, and so she goes to live in Avonlea with this brother and sister who actually wanted a boy to help on the farm, but they somehow get stuck with this girl orphan, Anne, and she gets into so much trouble, but she, like, really grows into, like, an amazing person, and I just love all her adventures, every chapter, like, and the chapter names are funny, and, like, they will kind of tell you what's gonna happen, and it's like, Anne gets in trouble. Like, no kidding, Anne's always getting in trouble. But I loved it so much. So much. Number 14, Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Love, love, love. It's a YA contemporary about a boy named Simon. Simon is gay, but he has not come out yet. So his friends and family do not know, and it's basically his experience of how he's forced to come out. And all how his life gets turned upside down during this, but it has so much positivity, and it's done with, like, great humor, and I just adore Simon, and I adore, like, all the characters, except the one who outs him. I mean, I get he has his own problems, but, dude, seriously? Seriously? But this is early in the book, so that's not, like, a spoiler. That's the plot of the book. They also had a movie about it. It's called Simon what's the difference? Simon versus Love, Simon. That's right. And I liked the movie, but I did feel like the movie, sometimes I felt like, oh, cringy. Whereas when I'm reading the book, I didn't feel like it was cringy at all. I was just like, oh, my heart. So, yeah. Number 13, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Saenz. I'm not 100% sure on how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry. Saenz. S-A-E-N-Z. Yeah, is that what I wrote down? Yeah. So Aristotle and Dante is about two boys who befriend each other in the 80s in Texas. Texas, I think. And they're both of Latina descent. And they befriend each other over the summer, and they just kind of explore who they are and who they want to be and how they fit into each other's lives. And that's really, like, the plot, I guess, but it is written so beautifully. It has a really low Lexile. Like, when I put it in my class library, it was like, wow, it's only, like, a 300 Lexile or something really low. But it's so poetic. It reminds me of, like, a John Steinbeck style, whereas the writing's not super overly, like, verbose and confusing or complex, but the content is just, like, kind of blows your socks off. So yeah, love Aristotle and Dante. And I hear there's a movie coming out, and I'm really excited, and I hope they do it justice. Then at number 12, we have, I have it in this file, sorry, Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. So, Lord of Shadows is the second book in the Dark Artifices series, which is the third Shadowhunters series that Cassandra Clare has written. And I love the Dark Artifices. It takes place with, like, a family that is being raised by kids. So, it's, like, these kids being raised by kids, and it's all kids, and I'm just, like, so, I love Anne of Green Gables. So, clearly, I like kid, like, main characters. I just root for them. I find them pure. I find them, like, I love, like, the Buildings Armand or coming-of-age type of stories. So this is the second book, and usually I'm not a fan of the second book in trilogy. Usually it's, like, the weak link, like Gathering of Shadows is to me. But this book kicked butt. Like, sometimes when I say I read Shadowhunter books as, like, almost 30-year-old, I get a little, like, but I like it, you know? But, like, this book was really good. Like, not just that, but, like, it was good. It was well written. The ending kills you, but it's so entertaining. I really loved it. I love the main, like, love story going on. Some people are like, oh, it's not healthy, and maybe not, but when you live in a world where, like, there's so much that's forbidden, you're gonna have, like, more unhealthy things. I love them because I love the two characters, so I love them. I don't think they hurt each other. I think, like, they're not supposed to fall in love. Basically, it's like a forbidden love, but it's not because of either one of them is a bad person. They're both really good people, and Julian Blackthorne is, love him. And Emma's just, like, a badass, and I like that she's blonde from LA, and I'm blonde from LA. Like, of course, I'm not a kick-ass Shadowhunter, but whatever. Alright, so, then, I'm losing myself on my list. I'm like, where am I? The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. So this is another book by Becky Albertalli, which is the author of Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. The Upside of Unrequited, I love that book. It's in the universe of Simon, but it's, like, there's one character who is related to a character in Simon, but they don't live in the same, like, city. It follows this girl, and she, basically, she's never had a boyfriend. She's in high school, and she's, like, insecure. Her sister's, like, really, like, outgoing and has, like, a really nice body, and she's, like, overweight and, like, a little insecure, but she's just, like, the sweetest human being. And so then she's just, like, trying to be like, what is this world? Like, what are boys? And, like, what is love? And I just love her journey, and I don't want to give anything away. I don't even want to mention, like, characters, because I feel like even when I say, like, oh, I love this character, like, you could kind of tell she's gonna end up with that character, so I don't want to spoil it. But it was very sweet, and I just, as a overweight girl, felt like I could relate to a lot of what she was feeling at many times. Number 10, Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. This is my signed copy. Oh, it's not signed on that page. This is my signed copy for Katie. I met her at Barnes & Noble in LA when the day of this release. I love this. This is a sequel to Vicious by V.E. Schwab as well. It's adult sci-fi. This actually won Goodreads Adult Sci-Fi. Yay! V.E. Schwab. For 2018. So this is one of the 2018 releases on this list. And so the first book, Vicious, it's about how these two boys men in college, they figure out how to give themselves superpowers, but they kind of become super villains and are going at it with each other all the time. And then this is like the sequel, and it really like plays on like what makes like a person bad or good, or justified in violence or not justified in violence. And I just thought, like, I love Vicious, but it's not a 5-star for me. This was a 5-star for me because it just, there were so many characters that came full circle. I just felt like Vicious was a little bit underdeveloped. Like, I wanted more in that book. Like, I felt like it rushed at the end, and then I was like, but I want more. And then, like, I did get more. But this made me feel, like, whole, but I still want more. Like, I hope V.E. Schwab writes more. She hasn't said she will, but she says she always leaves her books, like, where they could come back if she wanted to. Love, love, love. And Victor Vale, amazing character. Alright. Number 9, Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I don't have this on a hard copy. I have it on my Kindle. I bought it on audiobook because I was like, I have to listen to this in the car because I couldn't handle not listening to it on my drive to work. Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. It is a YA sci-fi novel. It follows this girl who basically lives on this planet where humans hide. I don't know, like, it's not Earth. I think, like, Earth has been destroyed already. So, like, these humans are living on this planet basically underground, and they're constantly being attacked by these aliens called Krell. And basically, like, the high society, they're always under attack. So it is just a civilization that, like, is under warfare all the time. So the highest, like, ranking people in the civilization are pilots, because they fight off the Krell and keep their world safe, you know? And so she really wants to be a pilot, but the problem is her father is known he was a pilot, and he died when she was little, and he died and is known as being a coward because he left in the middle of, like, this huge battle called the Battle of Alta, and Alta's, like, the capital city. So he abandoned them during that battle, so she's branded, like, the coward's daughter. So she has to deal with all the struggles of trying to become a pilot when everyone thinks she's gonna be a coward just like her father. This book was so action-packed, so fun. Like, if you like Star Wars at all, you will love Skyward. And, like, yeah, I just think if you're into any kind of, if you like Battlestar Galactica, it reminded me a lot of Battlestar Galactica. So yeah, Skyward, I recommend it, read it, love it. Okay, number 8, Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. So the 3rd book in the Infernal Devices series. So that is the prequel to Mortal Instruments. So Infernal Devices takes place in the 1800s, and I love that aspect. I think that is why I love that series so much. Cassandra Clare, like, plays on Gothic literature. I love Jane Eyre, which is right here. And she references Jane Eyre quite a few times. And she references, like, Dickens and lots of classic lit and romantic and Gothic lit. And I just loved all those, like, throw-ins and connections. So I just thought this series was so much fun. Like, when I met Cassandra Clare for Queen of Air and Darkness in LA, and I met someone in line, and we were talking about, we're like, BBC should, like, do this, or, like, Masterpiece should do, like, a film version, like, miniseries of Infernal Devices, because, like, they can nail the time period, even though it has, like, fantastical elements, like, a lot of fantastical elements. But I think, like, of the 3, like, that series has the best characters, but I don't think the plot is as strong, like, the overall arcing plot is as strong as Mortal Instruments and Dark Artifices, but I still liked it the most because the 3 main characters are just freaking awesome. Amazing. So likable. Alright. 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Leigh Bardugo, not Leah. This is my number 7. Okay? This is my fancy copy. I love it. So when you read the Grisha series or 6 of Crows, this is like a map of their world. Okay? So, and that's in all of them. This is my fancy, like, special copy. That's why you can hear the pages actually breaking, because I haven't, like, read it or open. I didn't read this copy. And it's signed. I don't know. Yeah, yay! And it's just gorgeous. I love it. Okay, Six of Crows. This is so much fun. This is YA fantasy, but I think adults would like it too. Like, I'm an adult, but I like a lot of YA. But I think this is really good. It follows 6 characters, and they're kind of like misfits. Some of them are criminals. Most of them are criminals. And basically, they get paid to go on a heist. And usually I'm not into stuff like that, but because the 6 characters are so much fun, and because of the world it's set up in, and it's not a casino, you know, like, they're breaking into a prison, and they're gonna, like, break someone out, and it's, the stakes are always high. What I love about this series, like, the stakes are always high. Like, if you mess up, you're gonna die. So, the stakes are always high, the characters are fun, the characters are hilarious, the connections between characters is just adorable and fun, and I love it. Alright, 6, Anne of the Island by Ellen Montgomery. This is the 3rd book in the Anne of Green Gables series, and the farthest I've read in the series so far. I love Anne of the Island. So she goes off to college, and she's, like, figuring out who she's gonna be and what she's gonna do with the rest of her life, and then there's, like, funny adventures with cats in her house, and, like, she has a friend who's, like, really adorable, and, you know, Gilbert doing his Gilbert-y thing, and I just really adored it. Anytime a character goes to, like, college, that's one of my favorite time. Again, coming of age, building some mom, you know. So I love Anne of the Island. Not a whole lot to say other than read it. It's awesome. If you like Anne of Green Gables, you'll like Anne of the Island. It's my favorite of the first 3. Then number 5, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Love The Night Circus. At first I gave it a 4 because I was just like, some of it's too romantic. Which I know, like, I know I read, like, Shadowhunter novels, but I don't, like, you know, like I said, they're not, like, great literature. They're just entertainment, mostly, and some of them are really well written, but, The Night Circus, the plot was good, the characters was good, the romance was sweet, a little bit too sweet at times, but, like, I was still thinking about this book weeks after I read it. I love every character. Every character is developed really well. Everything's connected really well, and it just is so good. It's so good. Alright, number 4, Crooked Kingdom, which is the sequel to Six of Crows. I don't have a hard copy. It's in my class library. But I like it even more than Six of Crows. Those Six of Crows could be, like, a good novel just, like, on its own, except a little bit for the ending's a little cliffhangery. But I love Crooked Kingdom because it goes even more in depth, and it brings up, like, topics of, like, sex slavery and human trafficking, and are gangbangers really all that much worse than rich tax evaders, etc.? But it does all that kind of social commentary in a fantasy world with, like, really high stakes. So I love that duology. A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab coming in at number 3. Here's my special copy. Ooh, fancy bookmark. The regular copy is white. So this is I love the artwork. That's Kel. That's my baby. I love Kel Maresh. That's Lila, and then the twins. So really cool fan art in here. In this copy, you can get it on Amazon. And there's a Gathering of Shadows one coming out in a few months, and I already pre-ordered it. So, A Darker Shade of Magic is the first book in the Shades of Magic trilogy. What I love about this series is the world building. I have never felt this invested in, like, a fantasy world since I read Harry Potter as a kid. So, I just really enjoy this world. There's 4 parallel London. So, Grey London is, like, our London. And then we have, well, it's our London in, like, the 1800s. So, there's no magic in it. Red London is, like, super magical and is very, like, Persian style. And it's flourishing with magic. White London is starved of magic, and they have, like, everyone's fighting to, like, get power to get that magic that they're starved off of. And then, Black London has been totally engulfed by magic, dark magic. So basically, it's a dual perspective. There's one character in Grey London, one in Red London, and eventually their paths cross, and they have to go on an adventure that if they fail, they can, you know, the whole universe will implode. So yeah, high stakes. I love high stakes. All right, number 2, I don't have the copy of it. The physical copy is The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. I love this novel. It's very difficult to explain, but basically it follows this family of women. There's 3 generations of women, 4 generations, 4? 3. I can't remember. I think 3. Generations of women and their relationships with, a lot of it has to do with their relationships with men. And man, reading this book, I was just like, I have some amazing men in my life. Because holy crap, some of them, like, and you hear stories like this all the time, and I'm not, like, men bashing, but, some of the men in the story are amazing, loyal, fantastic, just like the men in my life. But it really shows, it's just about, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just so good. But it literally, like, that is the best description of the book. The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. This book is sad, but this book makes you really, like, think about life, think about your relationships with people, think about the way, who you want to be and how you want to be and how you want to, if you want to let other people affect the way you live your life. There is, trigger alert, there is sexual abuse in this story, and there's a very, like, graphic scene, at the end. It is, I would say it's, like, adult fiction, but it's, like, mystical realism, because it has elements of magic, but in, like, the real world. But I just loved it. And even though, like, it has so many sad moments, it also is making me laugh a lot, and I have such a deep love for that book. And at number 1... Number 3 in the Shades of Magic series, the finale, A Conjuring of Light, this big baby. Love it. I loved this finale. I feel like it was, from start to finish, I was into it the whole way. I feel like the main villain's, like, story arc just really, like, deepens in this book, and I love a villain where, like, if you put the 2 good guys, right, in the villain's situation, like, I don't know if they would have done anything better. In fact, they may have done things worse than, like, the main villain does. And I'm not going to say who the villain is because it could be spoilery. But I love that when you could have, like, if the roles were reversed, you could easily, the good guy could have been the villain. Love it. Love this world. Love this finale. Love having characters that can't stand each other stuck on a boat together. Love it. Alright, so that is my top 20 for 2018. Thank you, and have an awesome new year.